Hi, my name is Darlene and I am 53, and I discovered breast cancer through a regular mammogram that I was overdue in getting. And I didn't want to believe what was going on because I didn't feel ill, and I knew that I had calcifications in there before. So, and me being a nurse, I'm like, I can monitor myself and I'm doing fine. But anyway, so they said it was DCIS, and I was still just trying to mull it over and accept that I don't want to cry, but I've never cried. I think it was a shock to me because my mother died of cancer, but it wasn't breast cancer. It was the same age, so it was kind of scary at the same point because I was thinking, I'd wondered what she felt like having cancer, and then all of a sudden here I am with the diagnosis. So it was kind of, wow, now I know. And so when it came time, and then I was at the gym, and I'm in the front and I'm working in the pump class, and I kind of look around behind me to see who's lifting any heavier weight than me, but they weren't. Okay. And so I saw a lady, and she said, yes, these are fake. She had a t-shirt on that said, yes, these are fake. My real ones tried to kill me. And I thought, I gotta get the nerve to ask her. I gotta ask her. So the class was over, and it wasn't quite over actually. I couldn't wait to say something. I said to her, did you have breast cancer? She was, yes. I said, I just got diagnosed. She goes, okay, we're gonna talk. So right away, she wouldn't let me leave after that, and we talked, and she's the one who put me in contact, and she kept saying, I thought this was the funniest thing, it's not the first time now. Now I'm a part of that group where I just lift my shirt up. Let me show you. So she took me, she goes, I got to show you. And it really wasn't a good time. And we were in the gym. And I said, gosh, I don't even know this woman's last name. And she wants to show me her breasts. And so I said, okay, I think I have a good person here. And she said, okay, you're going to get in touch with Dr. Arishta, PRMA, that's who you need to go to. And so I said, so are you happy with what you have? She was going to let me show you. So she finally showed me. And she was just so ecstatic with what she had, so I said, okay, that's who I'm going to go see. So then came the plan. I thought about, do I keep the one? And do I get rid of the other? And then I was looking at, he was talking to me about all the different options. And the biggest thing that was hard for me was, it was like, oh my gosh, how can my body betray me? And there's no way I can get rid of these things. As much as I didn't think they were the greatest looking things, but I nursed all my kids with those. And I said, I can't let these go because, it was a significant motherhood to me. And I thought, that was an important piece, so how do I let it go? Because that's me as a mother, and now I have to cut it off. So that was hard. So I understood, I work with patients who have to have amputations, and I realized how hard it is where they say, I don't want to cut my foot off, and you leave it till it goes gangrenous. And I kept thinking, well, I know I can't go to that part. But that was the hardest part, was I was thinking, how do I let go of that part? Because that was very significant to me. So then I just got to, I thought, okay, I'm going to be silly, and I'm going to tell my husband, we have to take pictures of the girls because because I need to know what I was before. I need that picture of me of what I was before. And then when I was looking at all the pictures, and I was looking at that lady who told me, I sat here and I watched the video. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's another one of the research people I work with talking. So I texted her and I said, hey, I'm watching you on a video. And she goes, where are you at, PRMA? So next day she came in and she showed me what she did. And I just think it's hilarious how we just pull our shirts up. It's no big deal. I said, I'd be dangerous if I was 20 with these things. So anyway, I wanted to make a decision. I'm very much try to be as natural as I can be. So as much as I like how implants look, and how maybe you could just have one. I had a little issue saying I want to keep my nipples because I just, it's kind of like, okay, that's what the kids latched onto. Maybe I can just keep the nipples. And then, so they explained to me, well, you really want to do that because, you have cancer in the milk duct. And the other thing was I was labeled a stage 0. So I really didn't feel like a cancer person. So when that's why I had a hard time saying, well, if it's stage 0, then why do I have to be so drastic and cut them both off? And then the lumpectomy, I looked at pictures of lumpectomies and I said, that doesn't look very good. And then something turned to me and I thought, oh my gosh, I just want all this cancer out of me. So the best thing to do is to just remove them both. And then I thought, I saw some of the pictures and I thought, I think I could be happy with these things and do a flat stomach. How many sit-ups have I done? And I have cursed with my mother's side of the family, baby pouch. So the reason why I chose the DIEP flap was because I like to be as natural. I don't like taking medications. I don't like to do, as much as I like implants and whatnot, I thought what would be the best long haul without having to worry about any complications. And I liked the idea that I could, gosh, who doesn't want to get rid of that baby tummy? Because I wouldn't do it otherwise, but since I had the circumstance, I thought I'd make the best of it. So I was getting rid of the tummy, and plus I was making my breasts. I like to call them ornaments now because they're not breasts, but they look like breasts. They're warm, they're natural, they'll gain and lose weight with me. Although I was concerned saying, well, what happened if I put on 80 pounds? Am I going to be like way out here? And he said no. But anyway, so that's why I wanted to choose it. I wanted to have the least complications and to not worry about anything else. And the reason why I chose to remove both breasts was I wanted to have it the same. And as I said before, you had mentioned that I wanted to keep my nipples, but it wasn't going to be the best idea. And so I was just into this art, and I looked at it as that way, and it just became a mission. So all of a sudden I was kind of like the leader, and I was explaining what needed to be done and how I wanted it, and it was such a team effort with all their expertise and what my desires were. I can't explain it any better than that, but the sad part was having to end the team. Even though this was a bad circumstance for me that brought us together, it's been a great experience in that way. So I was really glad with the choice I made. Anyway, it turned out wonderful. I mean, even when I didn't have the nipples, I had the confidence. And I think the best part about this was waking up after that surgery and I had a chest. I think that's what helped me get through this, because I wasn't scarred and flat and there was these sinkholes there. There was these mounds, and I was like, and of course I was in that bra, and I just said there, I was here. I never, I just walked through a new me, and I was into it, and I haven't looked back. Anyway, that was about that. But what I wanted to talk about was, you asked me, what, if you could turn the clock back, what was it that you would want to say to yourself? Well, for the last couple of years, my family and I, and myself personally, have been going through some really rough trials. And I thought, there's no way of getting out of them, but I didn't want to be depressed about it. So I said, you see people with little, next to nothing, or have the worst thing, and you see these things on video and you see, what makes them happy? Look at the circumstance they have. So I started asking God. I said, you know what? Out of all my circumstance, I know people are worse off and there's people better. How do I live my life with peace and joy, no matter what is going on? I said, that's what I would like to experience. What, help me. And I pretty much ask for that every day. And then of course, I get hit with this diagnosis, and I thought, are you kidding me? With everything else that was going on? But now that I look back, it had been the greatest experience, in a sense that if you wanted to say, okay, you have this diagnosis, you have this, it's not a nice thing, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to live. So when I said, okay, I'm going to live, but that means you can't have this self-pity. I mean, I did my crying, I did my remorse, I did not want to say goodbye. As I mentioned before, I nursed my 3 children, a year on each, for each child, and I thought, gosh, how can that part of history be gone, taken from me? But anyway, so I let that go, And I thought, I'm going to be open. I'm going to look for things. I'm going to be open, and I'm going to trust. And of course, you know, we're put on this earth to be together and help each other out, not hide and deal with things on your own, which I am a culprit of. I will say, okay, I'll manage it myself. I don't want to bother anybody. Well, I thought I'm going to do it different. So when I did that, my gosh, I can experience, I have love, peace, and joy, no matter what this circumstance was. And it was the greatest lesson for me on this journey. I couldn't keep up with enough of it, and I wasn't overwhelmed. I was just joyful that these people wanted to help me through this here at PRMA, but people at work, I never realized how loved I was. And it took that stupid cancer for me to see how many people actually cared. I didn't say, whoa, nobody likes me. I just never realized the amount of love that there was. And so I can say that even though this is a bad part of your life, embrace it. And I was in a cocoon and became a beautiful butterfly. I think that's the best way I could put it. And I want to help everybody else be a butterfly. I don't know how else to do it. I know what that feeling's like, and I just want to give. I don't care if it's a smile. And I want somebody to say I felt joy from her encounter. You know what I mean? I want to leave on a good note and not leave anybody feeling that I did or said something wrong, and if I do, I apologize. But at the same time, though, it's been a great journey, and I would say be open, let people in, and just go with it. So in the midst of all the trials and tribulations, you can have peace and joy. You just have to be open to it.